What really happened between BTS's Jungkook and Jimin's mother? Is this just a misunderstanding or the beginning of something bigger? Listen to Mrs. Jungkook's statement that made the army around the world cry and wonder. Click, watch, and don't forget to leave a comment because this story is not finished yet. Is this the end of Jimin and Jungkook's friendship? Did Jungkook's mother just reveal a secret that has been hidden from the public? Click like if you were surprised, write your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because the real facts are just beginning to be revealed. I know who made him cry that night, and not because of training or being tired. I know, because he came home with puffy eyes and a cracked voice. It was because of his own friend. Those words were not spoken by just anyone. Not from a manager, not from agency staff, and not even from the usual media exaggerations. The shocking sentence came straight out of the mouth of Jungkook's biological mother, BTS's golden magne. The sentence was made in a limited video interview that was leaked and immediately spread among certain circles of the army, and the name mentioned after that, Park Jimin. The question is no longer what was said, but why now? The video is believed to have been shot about a year ago, when Jungkook was in a difficult period ahead of his enlistment. At that time, the public saw only professional faces and their friendly smiles on the screen. But now, it is revealed that behind it all, there is a conflict within the inner circle that no one ever knew existed. In the 43-minute video, which is not intended for public consumption, Mrs. Jungkook appears to be having a casual conversation at home. The camera looks static, as if it came from personal documentation. In the 17th minute, the mood began to change when Jimin's name was called. I used to think they were inseparable, but since the incident, I began to feel that my son was not fully appreciated, said the mother, looking down, her voice almost breaking. Then he goes on a sentence that instantly freezes the heart of anyone who watches it. If only Jimin could apologize sincerely then. Maybe things wouldn't be like this. This question has now flooded Twitter, Instagram, and Weverse. Armies around the world are divided in two. Some refuse to believe that Jimin could hurt Jungkook. Others began to connect the dots, the absence of warm interaction as before, the change in the way they looked at each other, until the moment when Jimin sat away from Jungkook in a live session. In one of the old footage that is now viral again. Jungkook can be seen holding back tears as Jimin with a slightly elevated tone corrects his remarks in front of the camera. At the time, fans thought it was part of the familiarity. But now, after Jungkook's mother's statement came out, the clip has been interpreted very differently. A few weeks before this video leaked, rumors began circulating that Jungkook was preparing to get married after completing his military service. The name of his future wife has not yet been revealed, but some army suspects that Jungkook's choice caused a reaction from some of his closest people, including Jimin. Jimin said that my son decided too quickly, the mother said in the video. But who is he to decide what makes my son happy? Do not let the former affection turn into a sense of competition. The sentence immediately became a hot topic. Did Jimin disagree with Jungkook's decision for personal reasons? Is there someone from their past coming back? Or is there a feeling that has never been spoken? This video only took 2 hours to spread widely. The hashtags #IbuJungkook, #ProtectJungkook, #JiminApologize, and #WeNeedTheTruth have been trending in more than 15 countries. One of the most touching comments came from a South Korean fan who wrote, "I love Jimin and Jungkook. But if there are tears that have never been wept in front of the camera, we deserve to know why. Not to blame, but to understand." And that's the biggest narrative of all. The army now demands an explanation. Not gossip, not a PR statement, but the truth. What happened between two figures who have been considered the most powerful friends in BTS? As of this writing, HYBE has yet to issue an official statement, but an internal source who did not want to be named claimed that the video was not part of the agency's official documentation. If that's true, it means the video could have been shot privately, perhaps by family members, friends, or even by Jungkook himself for the purposes of live documentation. There is a strong suspicion that the video was not leaked by chance. There's something going on behind the scenes, and it's only the beginning. This question is now a tremendous public pressure. Many soldiers consider Jimin entitled to explain his position, but others feel that the situation is too personal for mass consumption. But what is inevitable is, the public already knows. And in an era where every detail can make headlines, silence can sound louder than clarification. Jimin himself was seen at the airport a few days after the video went viral. Wearing a dark hoodie and a black mask, he lowered his head and refused to answer questions from the media. The highlight is, his hands seemed to tremble. A few days after the video went viral and became a hot topic of conversation in various online communities, the atmosphere among the army changed dramatically. It is no longer just a curiosity, but a collective unrest. What is really going on behind the image of the perfect friendship between Jungkook and Jimin? And more importantly, why did such an intimate statement come precisely from Jungkook's mother, not from Jungkook himself? Even more disturbing are the additional snippets of those videos that are starting to appear on private messaging platforms. In the short clip of less than a minute, the mother's voice is heard saying something much more provocative. "You can have many friends in this world, but not all of them want you to be happy." The remark, while not naming names directly, was interpreted by many fans as a subtle accusation against Jimin. Not a few linked the statement to long-standing rumors about Jungkook's personal relationship that were not approved by several members, including Jimin. The rumors had subsided years ago, but now they are again sticking out sharply. There is speculation that Jimin once knew something about women close to Jungkook, something that left him disappointed or even feeling betrayed. Some fans speculated that Jimin was trying to protect Jungkook from someone he considered insincere, while others believed that Jimin himself had feelings that were never revealed. One of the most astounding theories came from longtime fans who noticed minor changes in their body language over the past 2 years. In the fan meeting, for example, Jimin had withdrawn when Jungkook mentioned about the future and family. At that time, the moment was considered an ordinary joke. Today, however, many believe it is an early sign of a major difference in their outlook on life, which has been masked by management. Not stopping there, there were also allegations that the relationship between Jungkook and Jimin's mother had indeed been tenuous for a long time. In an old fancam in 2019, it appears that Jungkook's mother did not respond to Jimin's greeting directly while backstage. Videos that used to be taken for granted are now being replayed over and over again, zoomed in, slowed down, and analyzed like a criminal investigation tape. Does this mean that the tension between the two has been running for years? Moreover, a former HYB staffer who chose to remain anonymous stated that there had been an argument between Jimin and Jungkook in a closed training room several months before Jungkook's enlistment. According to this source, the argument was so intense that one of the producers had to intervene, separating them. But surprisingly, no one has ever leaked this incident. Until now. If true, then there is clearly something big that is hidden from the public. There are cracks that are deliberately sealed with a professional smile, perfect choreography, and a never-faltering performance on stage. But now, those layers are starting to peel off one by one. No less surprising is how fans suspect that their solo songs turned out to store an emotional code about their relationship. The lyrics of Jimin's song entitled "Set Me Free PT2", suddenly it was associated with his disappointment in someone who had never listened to his advice. While Jungkook's lyrics in "Standing Next to You" are considered a silent appeal to someone who once walked with him, but now stands only in a shadow. In the midst of this chaos, there emerged one moment that made ARMY cry the most. A photo of Jungkook sitting alone on the rooftop of the HYB building, wearing a dark t-shirt and headphones, with a completely blank expression. The photo was taken by a fan site and was removed by the owner after drawing criticism for being too personal. But the damage is already done. Many believe that Jungkook had just come out of a closed-door meeting with management staff regarding his mother's leaked statement. But the storm has not subsided. Quite the opposite. The originally gray sky began to roll in dense, much darker clouds. And the name that suddenly began to resonate amid the public silence, it was taehyung. After Jungkook's mother's statement shook ARMY and opened up old wounds, many began to dig into past interactions not only between Jimin and Jungkook, but also with Taehyung, a member once referred to as part of the inseparable Magne Line trio. But there is one moment that seems to be forgotten by many. So far it has been linked back. In a 2022 variety show, Taehyung once laughed nervously when asked, "Do you feel jealous if Jimin is closer to Jungkook than you are?" The question was met with laughter from the audience, but Taehyung's answer, which at the time was simply, "Well, I think they had a lot of time to talk that I didn't know," now sounded like a subtle scream that was never really understood. Now fans are beginning to suspect that there is a deeper power dynamic behind the three members' relationship. Some theories suggest that the emotional closeness between Jungkook and Jimin had been strained over the years, not because of a major conflict, but because slowly, trust began to be eroded by distance, ego, and third parties, whether family, management, or even each other. What makes things even worse is the emergence of an old photo that has never been published before, allegedly from the backstage of a concert in Busan, showing a moment of silence when Jungkook sits alone, while Jimin stands a few meters behind him, looking in different directions, and Taehyung stands between them. Observant fans noticed that none of the three smiled. Now there is crazy speculation, but it can't be dismissed right away, that Jungkook's mother's statement about her son's emotional wound is actually related to the moment when Jungkook found out that Jimin kept a secret involving Taehyung's feelings. A theory that is spinning wildly in the fan community even mentions that there was a night when Jungkook overheard a private conversation between Jimin and Taehyung, and since then, everything has changed. No one knows for sure the content of the conversation, but many suspect that Jimin expressed his doubts towards the person Jungkook wants to marry. He felt that Jungkook was too trusting, and that the woman had been in contact with one of their senior staff. In the narrative, Taehyung allegedly supports Jimin's doubts, which ultimately makes Jungkook feel betrayed by the two people he trusts the most. And now, when her mother reveals that it was a close friend who made her cry that night, the speculation is gaining new fuel. Not quite there yet. A short audio clip allegedly from a private training session leaked and spread secretly on Telegram. In the clip, Jungkook's voice cracks. "If you think I'm stupid just because I chose someone outside of this world, then maybe I'm better off alone." Someone else could be heard trying to calm him down, and although it wasn't clear, many fans assumed it was Jimin's voice, in a low voice, full of pressure, like he was apologizing, or just didn't want the conflict to escalate. But Jungkook's words continued to haunt him. "I fought for us. But who are you fighting for?" The phrase has now become a slogan in various fan edit videos, illustrating the fragility that has been sealed by the perfection of BTS's image. And ironically, many have accused Jimin, the angel of BTS, of being the most confusing character in the narrative. Meanwhile, Jungkook remained silent. He didn't make any statements, didn't post anything. But the silence is noisier than anything. In one of the last updates before the mother's statement was leaked, Jungkook wrote only one sentence in a closed community of fans: "Sometimes love isn't protection, it's betrayal in disguise." The sentence is now regarded as a warning, as a form of pain that he had kept. And as the army tries to guess who he's referring to, many begin to realize that this conflict isn't just about a fractured friendship, it's about a betrayal that happens between people they never expected. The saddest thing is, no one denies it. HYB remains silent. Jimin disappeared. Taehyung suddenly cancels his appearance in a TV show that had been scheduled for months. And rumors began to spread that the management is now separating their promotion path for a while, not because of the strategy, but because of the already unbearable internal emotional state. Now, the question is no longer, what did Jungkook's mother say? But what are the three of them really hiding? And the army, which all this time stood as a shield in the heart of everything, began to lose its way. If you want me to continue the next part by deepening, darkening, and revealing the emotional side of Jungkook, Jimin, and Taehyung in a burst of tears and confessions, type continue chapter 4 now, and I will present the emotional climax. And behind the glass windows of one of BTS's old dormitories, which is said to still be occupied for sentimental reasons, a person can be seen sitting with his body hunched over, his face covered with both palms, and headphones hanging around his neck. It was Jungkook. It's not the Jungkook we used to see on screen. Not a smiling world idol with sparkling eyes. This is a cracked Jungkook. Jungkook has just read a voicemail that was never supposed to reach his hands, a recording from Jimin, which was sent to someone else, but somehow ended up in his personal inbox. In the footage, Jimin can be heard speaking quickly, nervously, and occasionally his voice shakes. "I don't know how to take care of him anymore," Jimin said. "Sometimes I think, are we letting him live in illusions too much? He says he's happy, but he doesn't even know that we're all just play a role. All of us." Those two words hit Jungkook in the chest like a sledgehammer. Who is meant? Is it just Jimin and Taehyung? Or is it that the whole world is living in darkness? Is even the mother he trusts fully involved in the game? In the recording, Jimin mentions the name of a woman who has been associated with Jungkook. "I've seen him with our old manager, before it all started. I can't tell Jungkook in person, Because I'm afraid he'll think I'm jealous, not caring. The word jealousy lit the coals that had been covered in ash. For the first time, Jungkook stared at the phone screen with reddened eyes, not out of sadness, but out of anger. Not just Jimin, but on the whole system that makes them keep smiling even though their hearts continue to be slashed from backstage. And in the midst of that anger, he played back the last part of the recording. Jimin's voice almost whispered, "If I'm honest, I'm afraid of losing him. But maybe I've already lost it, before I even knew it." A few days later, Jungkook appeared in front of the cameras, alone, with an innocent and almost expressionless face. In the sudden live broadcast, he said only one thing before turning off the camera: "Never take my silence as a sign of forgiveness. I'm just trying not to hurt the person I used to call my best friend."